So hello everybody, it's been a while. We're back, it's been about a year. Happy to be back. As always, I want to give you something to think about. What we hate thinking about this, but what were to happen if you and your spouse were to go? What would happen to your money? What would happen to your kids? You might think they may go to your parents or loved ones, but the fact of the matter is we don't know, because if you don't have a will and a trust prepared, we just don't know what's going to happen. So today we're sitting down with Gina Leguria. She does wills and trusts. She also does, we try to avoid probate. That's right. Yes, we want to avoid probate. And she's going to share her story of why she does what she does and how she can help you next on Small Business Voice. Hello everybody, so we're back on the Small Business Voice. We're sitting down with Gina Leguria. She is so tell me what kind of lawyer you are, because I always...
Estate planning.
Estate planning,
yeah.
So you do wills and trusts.
Do wills and trusts, also do probate, but we really want to avoid probate by doing proper planning.
We want to avoid probate,
We want to avoid probate,
yes.
so...
Okay.
And I also do some small business planning. I help companies get organized with respect to doing an LLC, corporation, and other types of documents that they might need to get those. So really serving families and small business.
Okay. So you shared with me when you were in your 20s, you didn't really have a dream job, but you had a great job.
I did.
You worked at Livermore Lab, making great money, early 20s.
Yeah.
Thinking about, maybe partying and having some fun, because you have a great job and you have money to do that.
Yeah.
But something happened in your life and it changed your whole direction. Can you tell us your story?
Sure, yeah. Everybody does have a story and they have a why. And mine is simply that I was going along in my 20s and my dad was killed in an auto accident. And my sister was only 11 years old at the time. My brother was still in college, and I was in my early 20s doing my thing, as you say. And so that was a trajectory. And my family spent 4.5 years in probate court. So probate is the process to transfer property to heirs after someone dies. 4.5 years, and it was emotional, and it was time consuming, and it was expensive when it was all said and done. The attorneys got most of the money, so it was really difficult and a very emotional time. And I would sit around the table with the attorneys, and I did a lot of research. I went to the library, checked out books, I went through a list, and it said, if you have any one of these 10 things, you need to consult a probate attorney. So that's how we ended up with attorneys and in court, but we had all 10 of those. And after it was all said and done, after 4.5 years, I decided I was going to go to law school. And I went to law school with the sole purpose of becoming an estate planning attorney, because I wanted to prevent other families from going through that time and expense and heartache that we faced at very young ages.
Okay. So what else makes you unique about being an estate planning attorney?
So I pride myself on speaking in plain English instead of lawyerese. I take a lot of time to educate my clients on what good estate planning looks like. I want them to be comfortable and know exactly what their plan is. It expresses their wishes, it provides for their family, it allows them to express their dying wishes of how they want to be cared for at the end stages of life. And so I take a lot of time to make sure that we get it right. And I spend a lot of time educating one-on-one, and I also spend a lot of time educating people in larger groups in public seminars or community groups, speaking engagements, because people don't know what they don't know, and they're shocked when they find out the cost of probate. The other thing that makes our firm unique is I come from a long career of public service. I've always worked in the public sector, so I have a very servant's heart orientation. And I also am able to work with family dynamics. You get people at their worst when somebody dies. Grief overtakes, And we don't always make good decisions, and all those pent-up childhood emotions come out and play out on the probate and a battlefield. So, we want to make sure that families have good plans in place to avoid all those arguments afterwards.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
That's quite a story. Why don't we go and take a break, and then we'll be right back after these words.
Every journey begins with a single step. Are you ready to take yours? Here at Modesto Junior College, we can help you begin. The college offers a variety of programs and opportunities, including financial aid. MJC students can transfer to four-year colleges after graduating. Our instructors will prepare you for a successful future in the field of your choice. If you want a quality, affordable education with unlimited horizons, make Modesto Junior College your first step.
All right, we're back on the Small Business Voice with Gina Leguria. So, Gina, you kind of shared us your story and some things to kind of know as we go forward. So what does good estate planning look like?
So it needs to be holistic. You need to take care of the family after a person has passed, but also you need to think about while someone's alive. Alzheimer and dementia is very prevalent in our country, and a lot of parents, aging parents, are starting to slip and lose their capacity. And you as an adult child, you have to step in and sort of manage their affairs, take care of their life and their medical appointments, and what does safe housing look like, and bank accounts and the like. So really a will is not enough. We do things that are tailored to every family's individual situation, which is why we like to sit down with people and have conversations and learn what they need in their life to protect themselves.
Okay. So I have a friend that comes from New Zealand, and she's got a will over there, but coming to California, I think there's probably, California's a special kind of state. It seems like there's always something.
California is very special.
Yes.
We have our own way of doing everything in our state laws. Yeah, yeah.
So they might think they're protected, but moving to California, they might not be. So it'd be a good idea to come see you and our estate planning attorney to make sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, correct?
Absolutely. I encourage anybody who came from another country or perhaps another state to visit with a California-based attorney, simply because your documents may need to be updated. California has some certain forms that are required and certain, we call them statutory requirements, so rules that have to be followed. But really what it comes down to is that if you own real property that is over the set limit, and right now that's $166,250, a very odd amount, but it just went up on January 1st. Yeah, it used to be $150, and then they adjusted for some cost of living and the local, the state economy. But property goes to probate if it's over that $166,250. And probate is just the process of retitling property from the decedent's name to their heirs, and that has to go through court. And as I mentioned, that's a very expensive and time-consuming process. So here in the Central Valley, I work in the courts throughout the Central Valley, Merced, Stanislaus, and San Joaquin, and then up in the foothills, and it takes about 12 to 16 months to get through the probate court.
Wow.
And then on average, probate fees are, you can just say a ballpark of 4%. So you're giving away 4% right off the top, plus all the fees and the time and the heartache, just to pass your property to your heirs.
So Gina, I know there's other companies out there and other programs where you can do a will online, but you're not really talking to anybody. You don't really know what you're doing. Are those going to be okay to do, or should they still see an estate planning attorney?
Yeah, I would go see an estate planning attorney, simply because in the long run, clients end up spending a lot more money on those do-it-yourself options as things go wrong. Fill in the blank has really unintended consequences. I also have seen where clients will meet with a local sales representative at a pizza parlor and learn about wills and trusts, fill out a questionnaire, mail it off to a firm in New York or Florida, and then get back this stack of documents that then they have to sift through and determine and go find a notary and witnesses to sign everything. And they may not know what their plan is and what it is that they're signing. So the do-it-yourself approach, as I said, has many unintended consequences.
Yeah, well, and you might just kind of take their word for it because there's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo in there that you might not understand. A lot of big words. Like if I were to read something like that, I think I'd be lost.
Yeah, and I do get clients that have the do-it-yourself options and come in and things are so wrong that we end up in court anyhow, and that's very sad.
Oh, and that's not good.
Yeah, very sad.
Yeah. But having a will is, it's good to have a will. Like if somebody had a will, at least they kind of it gives a blueprint to the courts on what to do.
It does give a blueprint, but as I said, a will is not enough. That goes to probate court, but then you want to think about when you're alive. What if you are in a horrible accident and you're laying in the hospital and somebody has to make medical decisions for you? Have you written out an advance directive? Do people know? Do you want to be on life support or not? What kind of pain relief do you want? Those are your decisions. Are you an organ donor? So it especially becomes important for aging parents. I know a lot of aging parents probably did wills back in the day, but they're still alive. We have to take care of them now.
So Gina, can I go to any lawyer to get a will and a trust done?
I wouldn't, simply because this is a very specialized area of the law. I often tell people in my educational seminars that you wouldn't go to a dermatologist to operate on your brain tumor.
Yeah.
The same thing is with the law. There are different specialties. You have criminal lawyers, you have business lawyers, you have estate planning lawyers. People want to go to your sister's husband's cousin because they're going to give them a deal. Well, maybe that person practices general and all kinds of workers' comp law or something, and they don't have the knowledge and the education to be able to sit down, talk with the family, and figure out what's going to work best for them to protect them.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. So we don't want to go to a criminal lawyer they can't do everything. You specialize in preparing wills and trusts and
Correct.
avoiding probate, so
Correct.
you're the person to go for that.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not going to say, I want to say a lot of years, but you have a lot of experience in this field.
Yeah. I've been an attorney for 20 years and specialize only in estate planning. I also belong to a nationwide organization called the American Academy of Estate Planning Attorneys, and we specialize in just estate planning. In order to be part of that organization, I'm required to complete 36 hours annually of continuing legal education. That's like 3 times what our local state bar requires. So a lot of ongoing education, the newest information and developments in estate planning.
Yeah, wow. It's a lot to think about. So we're going to go ahead and take a break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Papa, aren't you supposed to get your taxes done today?
Oh, I ain't got time. I want to watch the game.
Haven't you heard of the Sanders Income Tax Service mobile app that everybody's been talking about? You can get your taxes done now and finish watching your game later.
Oh, that's right.
Remember, by filing right, you get more here at Sanders Income Tax. Look forward to seeing you this year.
All right, we're back on the Small Business Voice, sitting down with Gina Leguria. So Gina, I had another question for you. How can people kind of educate themselves on to be prepared?
Yes, so we offer a very comprehensive website. It's www.legurialaw.com. And on there are a plethora of resources for people to learn more about what is probate, what is a will, what is a trust, why are these things important. And then also all of the unique planning situations. If you are a young family with young children, if you have a special needs child or someone with special needs in your life that we have to do unique planning for, elder issues. So a lot of information there and different reports that people can download to educate themselves. I also do free seminars. I do educational workshops. They're here in our office, and we do them about once a month to allow people to come in and ask their questions and get sort of the foundation of what a good estate planning looks like.
Okay. So that's one thing that makes your law firm different from other law firms. What else? How are you unique from other law firms?
Yeah, education is the big one.
Okay.
And we also offer free consultations, especially those who come through our seminar, because they have that foundation of knowledge, and then they can use that time effectively to get their questions answered. The other thing that sets us apart from people is that we do house calls and hospital calls. So somebody is in crisis mode and they need a plan in place right away. I worked with a client a couple weeks ago who was undergoing a heart procedure and met with him on Saturday morning, met with the family, designed a plan. Thankfully, our team was on board and we were able to get something put together, went back to the hospital on Sunday morning. He signed all the documents, we notarized and witnessed everything, and he was able to undergo his heart procedure on Sunday afternoon in a complete relaxed state. We gave him a peace of mind.
Yeah, that's the best way to do that right there.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but you want to make sure that you have something in place.
Yeah. Well, and just having that peace of mind, it probably made that surgery a lot easier. You know, like if you're sitting there and you have something over your head before surgery, it might not be the best thing for you if you have that over your head. So
I think that's the beauty or the gift in this line of work, is that our clients are just so relieved when they walk out that door that they have a good plan in place, that they have somewhere where they can go to ask questions. I don't charge by the hour for questions. A lot of attorneys do that. That makes us unique. So I try to be really responsive because I want people to feel good about the planning they've done, and I want it to work for them and their family.
Okay. And the good thing is we're actually filming in your office today.
We are.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you have a unique office. Can you tell me about the atmosphere of your office?
So it's a family business,
Okay.
and when someone walks in the door or calls on the phone, the first person they're going to talk to is my husband Jack, who runs the place. He's got everything under control, and we try to keep it warm and inviting. And our family is very invested in this firm, in the line of work that we do. We have easy access. We're easy to find. We're one block up from the Stanislaus County Library, and everybody knows where the main library is. So that's been very helpful for us. And we have free parking, which is very unusual downtown. So that's nice. We have ample parking and disabled parking as well. So it works out for us.
Yeah, when I told Janeiro that, he was very happy to hear that when I said downtown. So, so I'm going to go ahead and take a break, and we'll be right back. We're back on the Small Business Voice with Gina Leguria. Gina, how would I approach the topic of a living will and a trust with my parents, and without, because I don't want to sound like a greedy son or anything, but I do want to make sure they're prepared.
Yeah.
So how would I approach that topic with them?
Yeah, that's a great question, Justin, and I get that all the time because children want to make sure that their parents are cared for, but there are generational differences with respect to views of money and whose business it is. So I tell folks, come from a very authentic place of care, and that will show through. And it could be something as simple as inviting them to come to one of my seminars with you. And, hey, Mom, I heard about this educational seminar on wills and trusts, and I don't want you to die.
Yeah.
But God, if you did, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And a lot of parents will start to listen. Now, they might not listen the first time. It's always good to lead with, listen, I don't want anything. This is not about taking your money. This is about making sure you're well cared for. And if you say that enough with the sincerity from the heart, parents do start to listen over time. They may not tell you, they may not want you at the appointment, and that's fine. Book it for them, and then they'll come and I'll sit down with them, and then they are my client and I work with them. I don't work with you, I work with them unless they want me to. So it's just really, it's the ultimate expression of care. And then finally, you can tell them the cost of probate and the time involved. You know, just sometimes that alone. Gee, Dad, if you were to die and Mom's already gone, we're going to court and this is what it's going to cost, and it's going to take us a year to do that. And most folks will say, oh my God, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So then that's kind of opens the door for the education and start that conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, because I will have that in the future. You know,
Sure,
and
yeah.
Things are good right now.
Yeah.
But it is nice to, you know, to know how to approach that topic.
Yeah.
So that is good. I hear there's a lot of challenges about caring for an aging parent.
There are.
Yeah. So what are some of the services you offer to make that easier on your families?
So, as I mentioned, we do comprehensive estate planning, and included in that is the healthcare documents. So, healthcare power of attorney, HIPAA forms, advance directive, which is simply your directions on how you want your end of life to go. If you want to be on life support and machines and have artificial interventions. So everybody gets to make that choice for themselves. So we help design that for folks. And then we also have a vast network throughout the Central Valley of professionals who really have a pulse on the senior housing market. And, you know, not everybody is up for going to a retirement community, or, God forbid, if necessary, a skilled nursing facility.
Yeah.
You know, folks often say, oh, please don't put me in one of those homes.
Yeah.
Well, there are some beautiful facilities that take really good care of people if the family is no longer able to do that at home. We also help families navigate that decision, and does it make sense for someone to stay at home, and what does the care team look like?
Yeah.
Because it can't all fall on one person. That person will have caregiver burnout and ultimately compromise their own health, just taking care of an aging or ill loved one.
Yeah. Wow. So that's a good thing to think about also.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have to be prepared.
We have to be prepared
Yeah.
at every stage of life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so I'm going to ask another question too, about IRAs. So there's a lot going on in the world of IRAs these days. Probably not the things people don't know about. Can you explain how IRAs kind of tie into this? If like my parents had an IRA and they were to pass away, and how that gets passed down, and yeah.
So IRAs are part of a comprehensive estate plan, but the rules changed this year.
Okay.
Congress passed something called the Secure Act. And made some pretty comprehensive changes to how IRAs are handled. First of all, in the past, you had to start taking your required minimum distributions, or RMDs, at age 70 and a half. And like, who can keep track of their half birthday? But that age is now bumped up to 72 because people are living longer, working longer. You know, we haven't saved enough for retirement. So quite frankly, people are having to work and save a little bit longer. So this gives them a little bit more of an on-ramp for that. The rules for spouses stay the same. IRAs are meant to be your one of your retirement vehicles. And so you have an IRA, you can leave that to your spouse, and the rules are the same for the spouse. But what's changed significantly, that if it's a non-spouse beneficiary, so a kid, a child, then they have to draw out that IRA within 10 years. It used to be that it could be stretched out over their lifetime, and that's not the case anymore. So it's called the 10-year rule now. Now, there are some exceptions for disabled individuals and minors. Minors can leave the money there until they're 18, and then their 10 years would start. So a lot of nuances, but some pretty good changes with respect to IRAs and how that becomes part of the planning. So I'm actually working with a number of my existing clients who maybe I did their planning 5 years ago, but they have sizable IRAs. So we're coming back in and doing reviews of how does the IRA fit into the overall plan.
Okay. Okay. Wow. So, jumping back to living trusts, what's the maintenance on a living trust? Like, how much would that cost? Is what, like, we get a living trust put in? Is the maintenance pretty cost effective? What kind of goes on with that?
Yeah, so the way that a living trust work is once it's created, you own it. And that is, I think of it as your treasure box. And you can put things in and out of your treasure box whenever and however you want. So property in and out of a trust does not require a visit to an attorney. It's when you start making changes to the people. So you want to disinherit your son because he made you mad. Or your brother was your trustee, your successor trustee, the person that was going to oversee everything, but he died himself and now you're left without a trustee. So if you're going to make people changes, that requires a visit to an attorney, but property changes in and out does not, and it's, you know, pretty self-maintaining. I give everybody what's called an owner's manual with all their documents in there and comprehensive instructions on what they need to do. But as I mentioned, we stay in contact with our clients. You know, they're like family to us. We see them, you know, we invite them back for the holidays to an open house, and we have a lot of contact with them, and they have you know, brought us beautiful gifts, and my peach farmer brings me peaches every summer. So a lot of deep connections there. And we reach out and say every 3 to 5 years and say, you haven't been in to have a trust review. Has anything changed in your life? And sometimes it has significantly. There's marriages, there's births, there's deaths. So we talk about that and see if an update is even in order.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're giving us a lot to think about today.
Yeah.
So we're going to take one more break because I do have a bonus question for you.
Okay.
All right. So we will be right back after these words.
What's up, everybody? This is Ming Chen from AMC's Comic Book Men. Keep watching and stay tuned to MyTV26.
All right, we're back on the Small Business Voice with Gina Leguria. Now, Gina, we prepared the questions together.
Yes.
And I was looking at your profile, and I noticed that you actually give back. You're a family with type 1 diabetes.
Yeah.
And you give back to that foundation. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, my oldest daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 4.
Okay.
And she is now 20 and a thriving college student athlete. She's a college softball pitcher and really has done well over time. But you know, that's a 24/7 disease, and you have to monitor blood sugar and insulin and carbohydrate intake and all the things that can go wrong, and hopefully they don't ever. But we've always been actively involved with the diabetes community. We've done work with JDRF and an organization that's very near and dear to our hearts called Diabetes Youth and Families. And they do summer camps every year in the Sequoia Forest. So now, not only my oldest with type 1 diabetes, but my youngest, who does not have type 1, they're both camp counselors and work at the summer camp with the kids who have type 1.
That's
and
awesome.
So we try to do what we can to give back to that community because you know, we're all in this journey together.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. Wow. So I want to thank Gina for coming on the show today. I also want to thank. I also want to thank. So we get gift cards donated to me. McHenry Bowl donated some gift cards. Medici Pizza, which just recently changed their name, but Medici Pizza by the mall just donated some.
Stonefire, right?
Stonefire, yes. Thank you. And then Interstate Transmission, Ron Randall donated a card. But we also have one closer to you. We got a gift card for Mocha Magic.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so thank you for coming on the show.
I'm a coffee lover, so this will be great.
Yes, and it's walking distance from your office.
Absolutely.
Yes. So I want to thank Mocha Magic for donating that so we can pass that on to you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show today.
My pleasure.